Guys, y'all, friends, people, earthlings. I got a hot take, okay? And I want to bring this hot take to the internet to see if anyone has thought the same thing, okay? I just finished John Milton's Paradise Lost about the fall of man. It was a great read. It wasn't the easiest read because it's written in Old English. But yeah, the fall of man, for those of you who aren't familiar, is the story of Adam and Eve and their transgressions against the Lord in heaven, the Lord God. Okay. We're taught as kids that their disobedience brought sin into the world, which I'm not saying that is not the case. But I think there's an underlying assumption when we're taught this that it is a bad thing. So I'm gonna say it. I think we should be happy that Adam and Eve ate the fruit. Let me explain, okay? Bear with me. So in the book, it talks about the war in heaven before Adam and Eve. Also, this book is not necessarily theologically fact, okay? However, Milton does offer an invocation in the beginning of it and throughout the book, praying and asking God to speak through him, that he may deliver some piece of literature that is helpful for Christians and can enlighten some people, open people's hearts and minds. So who knows? Can't really say it didn't happen, but we have good reason to believe it did not. This is not fully accurate, but it is very interesting take. Obviously, a lot of the stories he writes and the dialogue comes from what he read in the Bible, which is true. So in the book, God talks about Satan rebels. Lucifer is sent away from heaven because he hears about God's new project of creating a new world and new man. And he doesn't like that. He's like, we should be above them, and how he's talking about how God was talking about giving them free will, and God was going to love them above all other creatures. Satan was messing with that, rebelled, got tossed out. Enough of that. But we have free will, okay? The forbidden fruit, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, is the embodiment of the idea of free will. God has a plan and is all-knowing and knows what's going to happen, okay? So in the book, God is talking to the Son, who is never referred to as Jesus, but the Son is his favorite, and he sits at his right hand at the throne. And his Son eventually, comes forward and says, hey, I'm going to save humanity. Like, I volunteer as tribute. I volunteer! He volunteers as tribute to come save humanity because of sin entering the world. Because we have a just God, so a just God must have someone taken into the place, someone worthy of the sinners who are damned to death, because the wages of sin is death, okay? So God gives free will to the humans. With the free will, God is talking and he goes, hey, they have the ability to obey me and not eat this fruit. It's so simple. It's just eating the fruit. It's very night and day. You either eat it or you don't eat it. Don't even touch it. That's what he said. So, thou shalt not eateth of dust that fruiteth. I don't even know. But But he knows they're going to do it. He's like, they have free will. They're eventually going to cave. Okay, 3 days it took. Adam comes to be, bang, worshiping. It's like, hey, every creature's got a girl. There's 2 of them. I need a wifey. Bang. Day 2, bang. They're chilling. Day 3, a little serpent comes over and whispers in Eve's ear. Okay, so God knew that they were going to eat the fruit. He's like, they have free will, but they're going to do it. He's like, I know. I just know they're going to do it. So they did it. He's like, okay, now they're doomed to die, even though they didn't even know what death was. But yeah, he's like, that's the deal. You eat the fruit, you die. So the son is like, I'll take their place. So when they eat the fruit, it's very interesting. So the devil is like disguises himself as a serpent, okay? Comes up to Eve, and Eve like convinced Adam, like, hey, let me go out on my own today. Let's do our work individually so we can be more efficient for the Lord. Adam's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. We're stronger together. They were even warned that there is an enemy in the Garden of Eden, in paradise, that was going to tempt them. Adam was like, I don't know, this is a good idea. We should probably, 2 heads is better than one. She was like, no, let this be a trust test. He was like, fine, babe, go do your thing. See you later. She goes and does her thing. This little serpent comes here, and he's like, what up? And Eden's like, yo, how can you talk? You're a freaking animal. You shouldn't be allowed to talk. And he was like, dude, this tree is crazy. I eateth of the fruit thou spake. So yeah, he told her, and he was like, yeah, see, this is the proof what the fruit does. It actually gives you powers. It'll make you like God, just like me being a little creature, slithery animal, has made it like humans. She's like, really? It's very interesting how Milton illustrates the way he tempted her. He kind of appealed to her logic, less so of her emotions. He's like, he even said, I think, like, God knows you're going to do it. Like, eventually, like why would a loving God, like, make there be a rule against you, this and that. Eve munches it and then has this like erroneous, lustrous, she feels smarter, okay? Her eyes are opened. Okay, I don't know if they realize they're naked yet, but then she goes up to Adam. Adam is like, yo, what did I tell you? He's like, bruh, you had one job, okay? And then Adam is not tempted with deception like Eve was, because obviously devil snake lied to Eve, and like he never ate the fruit. She ate it. She was like, Adam, and he's like, no. But he wasn't deceived, because he knew everything. He knew that it was going to be death, but he was like, I would rather die with my love and not let you be gone forever than be alive without you. So out of love, he freaking caves, and he's like, we're in this together. Kind of romantic, but leads to their demise. They eat it, overcome with erroneous, lustrous feelings, engage in perverse acts. Then they start feeling horrible. The son pulls up. He's like, yo, and you know what you did? They're hiding. And then Adam is just like weeping. He's like, yo, dude, no. The son is like, yo, listen, you gotta go. You gotta get out of Eden. You're gonna die. This is the way it is. But there's good news, okay? Like, the seed of Eden, of the seed of Adam in Eden's womb will create the human race, okay? They're gonna be sinning. He is given visions from one of these angels of the future. It's crazy. Milton like talks about things that are relevant nowadays, these wars and these people turning away from God and worshiping idols in different ways. Adam's like, no, like, what did I do? It's all my fault. Had one job, failed. He's like, it's okay. There's going to be salvation. All right. So then Adam and Eve go on their way and go to have kids. They go to have, I guess, Cain and Abel, and then all that, Abraham and whatnot. So there's like a conversation of if it was a tragedy or a comedy. It's a comedy because there is actually a happy ending. Like he talks about Adam and Eve walking away out of Eden with their hand in hand, tears coming down their face, but like they're like, okay, we have a job to do. We're humans now. We done effed up, but and we're gonna die. But because of this, now we know we have free will, okay? So here's why I think it might be a good thing, because God talks about this opportunity for faith and salvation. Think about what would have happened if they didn't eat the fruit, okay? Sunshine daisies always, which is great, but there would always be the question of like, are we really in control here? But because they transgressed and ate the fruit, we are now able to prove ourselves to God through faith. Kind of a hot take. It kind of is like, dang, why would we want to have to do that? It's hard. It's very hard to be faithful a lot of times, but if that's what you got to do. That's all it takes. And that way we are able to prove through our faith that not that we are worthy, but there is an opportunity for us to make it into paradise. There's a possibility. Sin is not a good thing because sin separates us from God. I used to think as a kid listening to the Adam and Eve story, like, dude, why they eat the fruit? Like, they're in paradise. They could just be in paradise and not eat one fruit. It's the easiest thing ever. But my thought is, like, God knew they were going to do it because they're humans and he gave them free will and they don't have this knowledge. This is the thing that he's withholding from them. I think the knowledge is the realization that you have free will. The knowledge of good and evil is the realization that we can disobey God, because they were all obedient beforehand. They just obeyed everything. They worshiped him, they loved him, and then they went against him. And it's a very simple act. I think it had to be simple, so it's a very clear story. But I just think, like, why would you do that? Like, I would never. And hindsight's 2020. Like, obviously looking back, they have so much regret, and we wish they would not have done it. Most of us. But hindsight's 2020. I think in that moment, any of us individuals, any human consciousness would have eaten the fruit. I think it was necessary that they ate the fruit. He might even say that in the book. I truly believe that it was necessary so that sin may enter the world and we have our free will. Because think about, if you were, kind of crazy thing to say, if you were a God, but if you were, you wouldn't, or if you're a creator of something, of a creature or a robot, you wanted it to love you. If you just programmed it, beep, boop, bop, love me, then it's not real love. You have to give it the opportunity not to, okay? So, we're given this free will. Sin enters the world. We have to combat it every single day. And then Jesus comes, okay? Jesus Christ, the prophecies are foretelling this. Like in heaven, he tells the Father, the Son tells him, he's like, I will go, because God's like, who was going to go down to earth and be righteous and live sinless so that they may die in the place of the people that deserve to die? Because it's like, it's a trade-off, you gotta, if he's just, it's got to be fair. How are we supposed to get in as sinners to an all-perfect place without us paying our debt of death, okay? Someone who can already get in there, who is perfect, has to pay that debt for us. That's the whole point of Jesus. And now the whole point of this happening 2,000 years ago, now we have to have faith. Because sin is still in the world. He didn't rid the world of sin, but he paid the penalty for our sins. Because we are all, like God said, inevitably going to sin. He's like, I already know it. They got free will, temptation. The devil is walking way more than he was in Eden. It was just one devil. Now it's just demons everywhere. Now the devil is among us. So there's a lot of sinning going on. So we had to pay it, and we have to get through Jesus. That's why you need a relationship with him. Because if you're at the party and you're like, hey, I know freaking Kevin Hart, but Kevin Hart's like, who's that guy? Kevin Hart's not going to let you in his crib, okay? Jesus is a similar mentality of, I just use Kevin as an example because he's a guy who I can say, hey, I recognize him, but he wouldn't be like, I recognize me, because we don't have a relationship. It's like anyone, you could use any name. Jesus, same way. You got to have a relationship. You got to have faith. Faith meaning belief in something you can't see. He said, what did he say after he came back to life? He said, you believe because you have seen, after he showed him the holes in his hands after he resurrected. But blessed are those who believe yet have not seen. That's faith. So yeah, it's not like, kind of crazy to say I'm happy that Adam and Eve transgressed God, but it was kind of necessary. Because what if they didn't, but one of their offspring did, and then it was like, I don't know. There's a lot of hypotheticals, I feel like, but it is what it is. And I don't think any of us can say, oh, I wouldn't have done it. I think we all would have done it. I think any human would have done it. But now it's on us. It's on us to have faith. Shout out Jesus. Shout out to the Son for saving the day. And we get free will. We get to do what we want. Like if you want to eat all of the knowledge of good and evil, you can grow a knowledge of good and evil tree in your yard and eat all the fruit off it and make a knowledge of good and evil forbidden fruit pie. You can make a forbidden fruit cake and savage it. Now, that's going against God's rules. That's sinning, so you're not going to end up with him. If that's what you want, you have that ability. He gave you that. That's a gift, the gift of the will. We have to go against those temptations of sin. Anyways, hot take. Should we be happy that Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit? Drop a comment, let me know your thoughts, and have a blessed one.